I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, call the roll. Here.
Trustee Spurling.
Here.
Trustee Bauman.
Here.
Trustee Youngerman.
Here.
Trustee Marisak.
Here.
Trustee Brzoska.
Here. We're all here this evening. Thank you. The first item under public participation tonight is a proclamation for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. And I would invite Trustee Spurling to introduce the proclamation.
Thank you. Whereas breast cancer is the most common type of cancer among women in the world and second leading cause of cancer deaths among women in the United States, more than 1 in 8 women and 1 in 833 men in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetimes. In 2023, an estimated 300,590 Americans were diagnosed with invasive breast cancer. And whereas metastatic breast cancer occurs when breast cancer spreads to other parts of the body, including the bones, lungs, liver, and brain, resulting in an average life expectancy of 26 months. And whereas National Breast Cancer Awareness Month seeks to increase public knowledge about the importance of early detection and treatment of breast cancer. And whereas many women still do not utilize mammography at regular intervals, even though research indicates it is the best available method of detection. And whereas taking advantage of early detection methods such as mammography and clinical breast exams could help the breast cancer death rate drop by approximately 30%. And whereas the American Cancer Society and other organizations continue to search endlessly for a cure through vital research and to reduce the risks of breast cancer through community education. Now therefore, Matthew T. Brawley, Village President of the Village of Montgomery, hereby proclaims the month of October 2024 to be Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the Village of Montgomery and urges all women and their families to get the facts about breast cancer, support those courageously fighting breast cancer, and honor the lives lost to this devastating disease. Thank you once again for the support, and I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. You want to take a picture? All right, thanks, Teresa. Any public comment this evening? Okay. Hearing none, I'll move on to the consent agenda. I'll read the items and entertain a motion for approval. Minutes of the September 9th Village Board meeting, executive session minutes from September 9th, accounts payable, and summary report through September 23rd, the amended water production report for July of 24, water production report for August of 24, the refuse report for August of 24, and finally, ordinance 2092 authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $2.6 million in general obligation bonds. This is the second reading on that item.
So moved. Second.
All right. Go ahead.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Brzoska. Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes. That carries 6-0. Moving on to the items for separate action. The first one is Resolution 2024-040, authorizing an amendment to the second escrow intergovernmental agreement. Administrator Zolfel.
Thank you. You recently passed an IGA for the escrow for the Phase 2 stuff. As you probably all aware, down Route 71, IDOT's doing some work. The area they're working in is also where some of the DWC work will be happening in. And DLCU basically be going in and having to undo some of IDOT's work. They have talked to IDOT, and IDOT's agreed to make the changes now, but it'd be a $90,000 cost, but it'll save us an estimated $300,000 if we had to go back. So this just amends the escrow agreement to say DWC can use the escrow for that cost with IDOT, since it hadn't been contemplated in the first agreement. And that is it.
So moved. Second.
Go ahead.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Brazaska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Thank you. Item B is Resolution 2024-047, authorizing a settlement agreement for the early termination of MetroNet franchise agreement. Staff has asked to pull this and put this on for a future agenda for action. All right. Item C is Ordinance 2093, amending a special use and plan unit development. This is Montgomery Business Center, amendment to Ordinance 1918. This is the second reading. Director Abt, do you have anything additional that we didn't talk about last time?
Nothing new.
Does the board have any questions? I know the petitioner's here.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Move to second. Go ahead and call the roll.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Brazaska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
And that carries 6-0. Thank you.
Now, just a comment on this thing. I voted yes because I think it's a decent project. I still think it's asinine that the village is spending about $2 million worth of TIF money to extend this road in addition to what the developer has to pay. It's absolutely asinine.
Thank you. All right, item D tonight is Resolution 2024-042, accepting the public improvements. This is off-site sanitary sewer system bill of sale for Walmart. Director Abt?
Yes, so this is something that is a long time coming. So the sanitary sewer that serves the Walmart was part of a master development agreement that extended the sanitary sewer through the Shearing property. Unfortunately, we never actually did a formal acceptance and put the sanitary sewer into an easement. So this wraps that all up into a little bow. We have been working with both the current property owner that purchased from Shearing as well as Walmart to get the bill of sale signed and to get the easement taken care of. EEI actually prepared the easement based on the final surveys that were done by Karis for the developer. So this first resolution will accept the public improvements from Walmart, and we expect to get that signed bill of sale shortly.
Questions? Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Brazaska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Carries 6-0. Thank you. Item E, Resolution 2024-043, accepting the village utility easement for KCS Montgomery LLC, Karis Center for Commerce. Director Abt?
Yes, so this is the easement that the sanitary sewer runs in through the former Shearing property, now owned by Karis. So this will put that into either a village utility easement or a sanitary sewer easement, as the case may be. Once we get it recorded, then it will be under our control to be able to go in and do any maintenance as needed.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Brazaska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
That carries 6-0. Thank you. Item F, Resolution 2024-044, accepting the village utility easement and approving an easement agreement with Christ Tabernacle Apostolic Church, property parcel 1531-401-005. Director Abt?
Yes, so we're on a roll with wrapping things up in a nice little bow. So this is the last piece of the puzzle for getting the Montgomery property assembled for the Montgomery Overflow project. The original agreement was approved back in April. However, at the last minute, the property owner did have some concerns regarding some of the easement language. So we did update the easement agreement to reflect some of their concerns, specifying that the village if we did disrupt the easement areas, any legally existing improvements that existed at that time that we would restore. So also, we updated the timing since the timing had already passed. So those updates have been made, and the resolution that you adopt tonight will replace Resolution 2024-012, which was the original one that we adopted. And this will allow us to move forward with the North Storm Sewer Project.
Cool. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Basically, everybody voted
Stereo.
on that already. Go ahead.
Okay, trustee Brzezka.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling. Trustee Bauman. Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
So excited to pass that one. All right, G is, moving on to G, is ordinance 2094, approving the final plat of subdivision for the Montgomery Business Center, Unit 3. Waiver of first passage on second reading. Director Apt.
Yes, so we just approved the PUD amendment for this development. So this is Unit 3 at the Montgomery Business Center. So this will create the last two buildable lots out there. Well, I guess technically 3, but last two buildable lots before you, lots 3 and 5 over Montgomery Business Center, where Nell Road will be extended. We are still reviewing the final engineering plans. Once those get approved, we'll be able to record the final plat, but we do need the board to authorize acceptance of the final plat. So we do have those conditions outlined in the ordinance before you.
So moved.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Brzezka. Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
That carries 6-0. Thank you. H tonight is Resolution 2024-045 to induce the redevelopment of certain properties within the proposed redevelopment project area. That's not a complete
I know, it's super specific. So this is also related to Montgomery Business Center, Unit 3. So the attached resolution approves the inducement of JB Commodities, which is the owner of the property, for the development of these 65 acres for the future development of lots 3 and 5. This essentially starts the clock so that the village may consider expenditures that are redevelopment project costs incurred prior to the approval and execution of an actual redevelopment agreement with the developer for eligible reimbursement through the TIF. The proposed project includes the related public improvements and detention associated with the extension of Nell Road to Commerce Drive for the development of those remaining industrial lots out there in Unit 3.
Yeah, so we're not approving a dollar amount tonight. This is just approving the inducement, and then the
Correct.
actual dollar amounts will come before the board at a later date with details.
Exactly. So they are working on finalizing their cost estimates based on engineering reviews and everything. So once we get that, we will be able to finalize a redevelopment agreement, and that will come before this board. So you'll have an amount, time frame, all the things we've seen in our other redevelopment agreements we've done for TIF 2.
So moved. Second.
Go ahead.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Brzezka.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
No.
That carries 5-1. Thank you. All right, I tonight is Resolution 2024-046, approving the reduction of the performance security for the Starbucks in Ogden Hill. Director Apt.
Yes, so they have finished up all the punch list items for the Starbucks over at Ogden Hill. So they are requesting the reduction in their security. So based on that, the bond for $41,456 would be reduced by $38,156. The remaining balance of $3,300 is equal to 110% of the landscaping. That does need to be retained for 2 years for the maintenance period per our Unified Development Ordinance.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Brzezka.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
And that passes 6-0. Item J tonight is approval of award of contract to Swallow Construction Corporation in the amount of $545,010 for the Montgomery Overflow North Storm Sewer Project. Engineer Ott.
Thank you, President Browley. On August 6th, we opened bids on the Montgomery Overflow North Storm Sewer Project and had 5 bidders. Swallow Construction was the low bidder, and we were recommending approval of award to be made to them in the amount of $545,010.
Questions?
When would this project commence?
As soon as we get contracts approved, we do need to get an IDOT permit bond to do the bore and jack work under Route 30. But there is work that can happen before that, so I would anticipate within 3 to 4 weeks, probably.
And what's the duration of the project?
Hard to say without having our pre-con, but I would say it would be complete before the end of the year. But I don't know that for sure without talking to them. There could be a point where we maybe need to temporarily get it restored and then finish in the spring.
Okay, thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Brzoska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
That carries 6-0, thanks. K tonight is a PSA with EEI in the amount of $69,399 for construction engineering for the Montgomery Overflow North Storm Sewer.
Thank you, President Browley. So as the village continues to make improvements to the TIF2 area, making improvements to the Montgomery overflow, this is the construction portion for the project that was just previously awarded to Swallow Construction for EEI to be out there doing construction observation. So if there's any questions from the board, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Brzoska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
That carries 6-0, thank you. All right, L tonight is PSA with EEI in the amount of $90,064 for design and construction engineering for the ground storage tank rehab.
Thank you, President Browley. So as the village continues to perform preventative maintenance on our infrastructure, this item was identified in our inspection process of needing a full blast and repaint of both the interior and exterior of the ground storage tank, which is located adjacent to the Public Works facility. So this would be for the design and construction engineering of that project. If there's any questions from the board, happy to answer them.
And this cost is budgeted for this fiscal year. What about the actual work? Is that to be budgeted for next year?
No, were we looking, sorry.
Yes, the design engineering is budgeted in this fiscal year, construction and engineering in next fiscal year.
Cool.
So I do have a question, and my question in no way reflects on EEI at all. I think you guys do a fantastic job for the village. But we just approved the engineering services for the Swallow Construction project, and it was $70,000, and that's a huge project spread across a vast amount of area. This is a ground storage reservoir that's in one spot, and it's $90,000. And I see there's 200 hours of watching the project. I'm always looking for ways to cut costs. I know in the past, when we didn't have very much staff, that we relied heavily on EEI to perform a lot of services for us. Is there any way that we could pull some of that in-house and minimize that 200 hours of babysitting a contractor? It's right there, right next to our treatment plant. Is this something that our people can go out there and look at daily to make sure? Because I get it, once they blast it, you're gonna wanna inspect it to make sure that they've blasted it fully down, so it's white metal, and I get that portion. But as far as the portion of just going out, just checking on them, is that something that we can do in-house to minimize some of this $90,000?
So I guess my first response would be just the degree of technical knowledge that any of our staff members would have related to paint, whereas Mike Switzel from EEI is very well versed, does all of their tank painting projects in a large amount of communities around here. Obviously, the cost of the project itself is extensive, so therefore, we're going to want to make sure that the applications are done properly. all of the prep work is done properly. And again, I don't know that any of our staff members have that technical ability on top of the current workload that our staff already has, trying to manage. We have 4 separate contracts that'll be up for water main replacement next year, which is going to be a huge impact on our water staff as well as other staff members of Public Works. So I don't know that timing-wise that we would be able to accommodate another project as well. But it is something that we can look at in the future on projects if there's ways that we can save.
Okay, yeah, because I'm just curious, this ground storage reservoir has been blasted and repainted not too long ago, since it was originally installed. And, I get it, but it's a 10-week project, I think is what the project schedule calls for, 200 hours, that's 20 hours a week. I don't understand why somebody of Mike Weissall's caliber has to be there for 20 hours a week when they're just sandblasting, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I get it when they're actually completed the sandblasting, it needs to be inspected before it's approved to be primed and then painted, you got to inspect a primer. I get that, it's just, I just think it's a lot of hours. That's being expended to watch a pretty simple project. But again, if you feel it's necessary, then that's fine. It just seems like a lot of money for a ground storage reservoir.
If I could add that the work for that inspection is hourly, so if we don't need to be there, we won't be there.
Okay.
I will certainly challenge Mike Schweistel to make sure that it's, important for him to be there. Keep in mind that oftentimes they sandblast a portion of the tank and recoat it before it starts to get a rust bloom. So it's not automatic that they'll blast everything and then do it. So you oftentimes have to come back numerous times to review the condition of the blasting to make sure it's compliant with the criteria. But that's one of the reasons we put in that work is hourly, because the other thing that we find is, depending on the contractor, sometimes you have to babysit them more than others, so it's sort of dependent on that, but we'll certainly be conscious of costs and, keep an eye on it.
Okay, so this is just like your worst-case scenario, then, was what you're saying.
We have to put something in the budget, and again, the reason we do it hourly is we think that's fair to both parties. The village only pays for what they need, and we only want, if we're out there, we get paid. If we're not, we don't get paid, so that's fair.
Yeah, fair enough, right. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second? Go ahead.
Trustee Guyer?
Yes.
Trustee Spurling?
Yes.
Trustee Bauman,
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman?
Yes.
Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Trustee Brzoska?
Yes.
Thank you. The last item tonight is a PSA with the EI in the amount of $44,839 for design and construction engineering for the Well 8 rehab. Go ahead.
Thank you, President Browley. So Well 8 rehab, was originally in the budget for FY '24. However, it was moved back to FY '25 due to some declining production in our well number 3, which we've wrapped up and got back into service now. So we are looking to move forward with our Well 8 rehabilitation, which was last rehabbed in 2014. So EEI will be out there as well, managing that project and creating the project manual for the Well 8 rehab project. So if there's any questions from the board, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
Thanks, Mark. Questions? Motion?
So moved.
Go ahead. Second by Brzoska.
Maybe.
Moved by Mr. Bauman here.
Okay. Trustee Bauman,
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman,
Yes.
Trustee Marisak,
Yes.
Trustee Brzoska,
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Okay, that carries 6-0. Thank you. We don't have anything for discussion this evening. Anything new or unfinished?
2 items, if I may. Just quick updates. At the last meeting, I asked for an update on the park at Concord, and I don't know if these were in our notes. I'm sorry, I missed them. But can you get us an update on the park at Concord as far as what items they got left? and when that should be open, and also the Dixon Road widening.
Do you mean the Dixon Road Park? No, you're talking about Blackbird
Venetian
Crossing
one.
West Park
Yeah,
on Venetian and
Yeah.
Dixon?
Did
Okay.
I say the wrong?
yeah, you said
Thing?
Concord.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I can get you an
Yeah, if you
update.
could.
Yep.
Just get it in our notes or send us an email or something. Thank you. That's it. Those were both.
On Friday, October 4th, at the Oswego High School, there's an event called Take Back the Night in support of
So,
That's Friday night.
You're still working on the traffic study for the stop signs in at Concord and Thunder Gulch and the crosswalks?
Yeah, we went out there and counted, and we are just trying to finalize the numbers and come up with a conclusion, and then we will get something out.
All right, thank you.
All right, you see future meetings there. We will have the board meeting on Monday, October 14th. We're loud tonight. Until then, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
yes.
Trustee Brazaska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
And we're adjourned. Thank you.